Thank you for being here. Just wanted to first thank our, actually the Central County Republican Party dropped off some masks for the city council members, and they made special masks for a couple of us that are just plain blue, and some of them with more, I think, party symbols on them. And just wanted to thank the Central County Republican Party for doing that. I think it was a sign of courtesy, and we appreciate it at City Hall. So good morning, and thank you all for coming out. Today I'm going to talk about the city's phased-in approach for reopening not only City Hall, but also our libraries and other facilities that people expect out of the city. So, like with the governor's approach, we are going to do a 4-tier system of reopening, and we want to not only get back to the services that people expect, but also make sure that we are having extra emphasis on public safety. I want to give it somewhat of a caution where this is the plan as it is today, but we all know that the virus makes the timeline, and we all know that things could change if reactions within our community to this virus, if we have another bump in cases, or anything else happens, we'll make changes to this as appropriate in order to keep the safety and health of our citizens as our top priority. So with that, we're approaching reopening of our facilities really with phase 1, which is this week through May 26. City employees are busy preparing our buildings for safety protocols, supplies, and information. We are putting informational signage throughout our City Hall so that people know what 6 feet apart is, and also know some of the expectations. So right now, that's what City Hall is working on. If you come into City Hall, we will ask you to wear a mask, and it will be the option to have your temperature taken at the table up front. That is not a requirement, but it is going to be optional for people coming in. I have it done every day when I'm here, and it will hopefully help. If you are someone with a fever, then you can stay away from people. So phase 2 is planned for, right now it's planned for May 26th through June 30th, in which we will begin opening up for business, but with limited access to city facilities and programming with modified deliveries. So what this is going to look like is similar to what we discussed last week, where we are going to open up the library, but we will have road or curbside services instead of just the library as it was this time last year. So we'll still have the services, but we'll be making adaptations to those services so that we can keep people's safety as our first priority. For specifics, and this is very important, but for specifics when city facilities such as dog parks, playgrounds, and museums are open, please visit our website. We'll be sharing links on our social media as well, but our website for the most up-to-date information will be wichita.gov/coronavirus. So as we make these changes, make sure you check the website before you plan on going out to one of our facilities. So during phase 2, we will be constantly and closely monitoring and assessing risks to the health and safety of our employees and residents' progress before we make any changes. So going on to phase 3. Phase 3 is the reopening is scheduled for July 1st as of today, when we will be able to make more accurate assessments for further loosening of restrictions and limitations of the city. So on July 1st, we're hoping to have more information so we can open up more parts of our city. However, that's ongoing. We'll see where we're at July 1st. And the 4th phase is really a complete reopening, and we will be waiting until either a vaccine comes out for that, or until we have better treatments for the coronavirus, or if we were to find that cases of the coronavirus has whittled down to a very small number. So phase 4 would be a full reopening. That is something that we haven't put a date on yet, because we want to make sure we can survey the situation at that point. So, all right. So moving on, and I encourage everyone to check out wichita.gov/coronavirus website for the most up-to-date information about city facility openings and specific programs and services. So moving on to commenting on city council meetings. As most of you know, our city council meetings are streamed live on YouTube and on YouTube every week. And because we are limiting the amount of people coming into City Hall, we have been taking comments through email. But I'm happy to report that we are going to have Century 2 open during the city council meetings to provide the public with a place to give comments during the meeting. So we'll be in room 101A and 101B and have to set up, and we have a setup that allows for safe social distancing and will provide masks to everyone in attendance. Residents can park in the metered surface lot and enter Century 2 by the gesture statue. Residents can also email the council, as was the process for the last few weeks, at wichita.gov by 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting with their comments. So again, you can go to Century 2. There will be plenty of room to keep social distancing. You'll be provided a mask, and if you would like to, and at that point we will have the city council meetings will be broadcast there. And if you have comments you would like to make in real time, you have the opportunity to do that. So we'll be updating this information as it's finalized, and again on wichita.gov/coronavirus, that will be your one-stop place to go for more information on this. I also want to just talk about our customer service line. I think the customer service line is a number that hasn't been utilized as much as, let's say, my number for people who are looking for information. So our customer service line, for those of you who rather call someone than go online, is actually 268-4482. So that's 268-4482. That will also give you the most up-to-date information on the opening of the city and these phases. So lastly, I'm going to talk about the Wichita Public Library, and it'll be accepting new holds requests on materials on Monday, May 18th. So beginning Monday, May 18th, customers who want to check out materials may visit catalog.wichitalibrary.org and browse the library's collection and place items on hold. Once they're on hold and ready for pickup, customers will receive a notification from the library to come and pick up their materials through the curbside services. And more information on that can be found at wichitalibrary.org/COVID-19. So with that, I'll take questions. Go to you and then you. Go ahead. We'll go to you and then we'll go to you, yes.
What you were talking about at the beginning,
Huh?
the services inside City Hall, what specific date, if I missed it, what are you looking at, and what will people be able to do when they get into City Hall?
So I believe phase 2 is planned for May 26th through June 30th, which will begin opening for business. Oh, repeat the question? Yes, the question was about City Hall, the date particularly when services at City Hall will be reopened, and I believe that's in phase 2, and that's going to be May 26th through the 30th, and that's when we'll begin opening up for business with limited access to city facilities and programs and modified service deliveries. So for City Hall, some of that, the conversation we're having as we develop this policy is, making sure that people have access to the departments they need to be at for our city services, but not access to the other floors. So will it be the first 3 floors that we will have where, lets people go to court, lets people go pay tickets, lets people come and talk to the elected representatives. But there's really no reason at this point to open up, all the other floors up to number 13 just for people to kind of roam around. So we're trying to limit access while also providing information throughout that common area that will allow people to get their business done in the safest manner possible.
Have you had any reports or information at all of any city employees who have been confirmed to have coronavirus, any reports of cases at any facilities, or has everyone been able to avoid it?
So I get reports of mostly first responders who might have been exposed to it and will go into quarantine. Other than that, we have been really at the forefront of providing PPE and utilizing disinfectant strategies since at the very beginning of this, really when people were just starting to talk about coronavirus policy. At that point, Wichita was, out front hiring contracted businesses to come and help us intensify our cleaning efforts. We were utilizing a disinfectant machine for our terminal, help me out, airport. So we've kind of been, I think, ahead of the curve on that, and it has paid off, where at this point I'm unaware of any city employees who have come down with or been diagnosed with the coronavirus. I do know that as a precaution, of course, our first responders, if they are exposed to what they think could be the coronavirus, there is a process to ensure that they either get testing or have the ability to self-isolate to see if those symptoms develop. And I should repeat the question. I'm going to try this better, though. Yes, ma'am.
You say that employees are in there prepping the building. Does that mean a majority of employees are now back? And what does that timeline look like for all employees coming back to this building and other city buildings?
So the majority of employees are not back. Right now, we are still operating on what I've been calling a skeleton crew, and we are the employees that are there are helping us with measuring different. We have information printed out that's on the floor that says like this is 6 feet from that. They're out creating that those changes so that when people are there, it's safer for them to socially distance. But we are not fully up and running. That discussion is being had right now with staff and also with experts to figure out when we start utilizing the court system again, when we start using some of the other functions at City Hall. What are the parameters to make those safe, and then what do we have to implement before that date? So I don't fully have a date for you on that. That's in addition to the phased approach we already talked about.
And regulating who goes on which floor. You said some floors won't be available for people to go onto. Will there be people on those floors turning people around, or have you all decided how to regulate that?
So that's still ongoing. That's part of the policy discussions we're having, and of course we will have probably through the elevator. We through people possibly standing on those floors, we will be able to figure out what is the best way to enforce it. A lot of times, just giving people the information that these are the floors that are open right now, a lot of times people will just abide by that. And if you're going to some of these other floors, usually you have a purpose that's above and beyond what the average person who's coming to City Hall is doing here. You're probably visiting a family member or something else going on. So, visiting someone who works here. So, we don't project it to be a very big problem. But it's an example of the conversations we're having to try to create the safest environment for the public who does business here at City Hall and for our employees.
One more from me, sorry.
Of course, go for it.
So Monday, as businesses of different kinds potentially start reopening, what have you been hearing from business owners? Fear or excitement to get back going?
So the question was, and like I said, I should be doing a better job repeating these questions. Monday, when I think it's governor's phase 2 will allow other businesses to open, what have I been hearing from business owners? Excitement or fear? To be honest, I think that the majority of what I've been hearing is really excitement with caution. For example, I haven't had a haircut in quite a while, and neither has I think any of us. The person who cuts my hair actually reached out to me, and she not only wants to schedule a haircut with her clients, but she also posted on Facebook that she just completed a certification on delivering haircuts while being cautious of the coronavirus. So I think a lot of these businesses are looking forward to getting back to action, but also taking this time to really get themselves trained so they can protect themselves, protect their customers, and protect their fellow employees. So I've been hearing a lot more of how people are going to change their model a little bit to keep people safer, while also how are they improving their own skill set, particularly for the type of businesses where you are in close contact with people, to ensure that we have safety as a top priority. So I also will say our first meeting for my small business council will be on Friday via Zoom, and this last week I've made 3 more appointments, and I believe we have about 12 or 13 people on this first council, which will last 3 months, and then we hope to bring in more people, and every 3 months have a different group of people who can help us with not only creating policy that helps small businesses during the coronavirus, but also as we grow economically. I want to keep this going, even if we're lucky enough to have a vaccine created in the next few months. Then we still want to keep this advisory committee going, and that's part of what I'm looking to find out is questions like that. Like, are you excited? Are you nervous? If you're nervous, what can we do for you? If there are people who are looking for training so they can be more safe, then that information, if it gets back to me, then I can start looking at the resources we might have to provide some online training, some certification. And the goal is to make sure that as we move forward, we keep people safe. Wichita has done a really good job as far as not having this spread like other cities we're comparable to has. So we want to keep people safe, and then we also want to get back to some normalcy, which is going out and getting services. So how do we do that while keeping people safe? And that's part of my job as mayor, is to help relay information, hear concerns, and then help create policy to address those concerns.
Is there as far as salons go, is there a set number that have you heard, or are you guys enforcing type of word, how many clients can be inside the shop?
So I'm not sure, actually, because that number would come from the governor's order, and they would be more likely the people to talk to as far as knowing the ins and outs and the details of a statewide order. I believe that when it comes to enforcement, and the question was about salons and like businesses, is there restrictions on how many people can be in there? So again, I'm trying to be better at this. I think that question would probably be better posed to Pete Meissner or some of the people over at the county level. As they serve as our Board of Health, they also would be in charge with local enforcement. All right, anything else? Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone. Excuse me. I really appreciate it. And please reach out if there are any questions that I can answer for you. Thank you.